Welcome to Comics Bazaar, the channel of comics commentary and arcana. This video features Classic X-Men number 10, and this is cover dated June 1987. So that is the cover by Arthur Adams, inked by Terry Austin, and it is the cover for the main reprint here of Uncanny X-Men 102. But what I'm interested in this particular review video is the backup story by Chris Claremont and John Bolton. So this is the back cover by John Bolton, and it features very obviously Logan in his civilian garb but with his claws out, and he's standing atop a tall building. This is a really well designed and conceived image, and great spotting of blacks on it too. So very nice, nicely colored as well. Intriguing. What could be this untold story of Logan circa Uncanny X-Men, the continuity of Uncanny X-Men 102? Well, let's just take a look at the inside cover for the credits here, and we'll see the credits for the backup story. Chris Claremont writer, John Bolton penciler, inker, letters by Tom Orzechowski, and the colors by Glynis Oliver. Inside cover frontispiece by Arthur Adams there. You can see the splash page from Uncanny X-Men 102, but let's skip forward to the point in this comic where we get the new story, and here it is. So the title of the story is Tag Sucker, and what a great splash image there of Logan again in his civilian clothes, and he is in Midtown Manhattan, Times Square specifically, and we're into his first person narration. So we have his first person narration, that distinctive voice that Claremont creates for him, running throughout this particular 12-page story. I'm Wolverine, he begins, loner by nature, hunter by trade, but I've joined the X-Men now, and since New York is their home turf, I've come to make it my own. Don't much like cities, too big, too crowded, too flamin' noisy. I prefer wild country. Been at it the better part of a week, wandering Manhattan and the outer boroughs, sizing up the city and its people. This is Times Square, called the flashy trash heart of the Big Apple. Some apple, some heart. So of course, in the time period, Midtown Manhattan, you can see the XXX sign there, was rather seedy, down at heel, exactly, trashy. And so Logan's commentary there, some apple, some heart, implying the rottenness at its core, and very appropriate to the time period. Subsequent to this, in the 90s, Midtown Manhattan was cleaned up and some would say Disney-fied, much safer place. You could walk around at any time of the night for it not to be dangerous. But this is a different time period, and this particular splash page evokes for me the atmosphere, the visuals of Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver, and there's little aspects of Travis Bickle about Wolverine wandering Midtown Manhattan here in Times Square. But then we get into the story, so that's all fine and well enough. He's been tramping the streets for a week, getting familiar with the new city, and now we get a complication in the plot. I'm minding my own business, he says to himself, not expecting trouble. First mistake. So someone swipes his cigar. Now I like this image here. I like the way that he's cupping the flame of the match, but there is a little, to my mind, perhaps maybe the spotting of blacks here could be improved, because how come the flame isn't illuminating the other side of his collar? And maybe just if the hatching there, the mark making, had the black coming this side of his collar, I think it would work a little bit better. Just a very, very minor criticism there. But this I really like, how he's looking down, or his hat is tipped down, and then his eyes popped with surprise. Someone swiped his cigar. And how could someone creep up on Logan and do such a thing. Every sense kicks into combat mode. I do a fast 360, scoping every bod around. Nothing. Little Easter egg here with the advertisement at the cinema theater there for Murada the She-Wolf. That was another graphic novel collaboration between Chris Claremont and John Bolton. So a little reference to that there. Nothing. And then somebody creeps up behind Logan with a big toothy grin. Tag sucker, you're it. So that's our title of the story. Behind me, says Logan. Nothing. So he wheels around. Nothing. I heard the laugh. The guy was close enough to touch. I was alert. Why didn't my senses warn me? What the blazes is going on? So who or what could this be that would be able to steal up behind Logan and do such things? Too open here, he continues. Too many people without a scent to lock in on. My guy could be any of them. Might even be part of a team. Creep wants to play. I'll oblige with a game. He'll never forget. These moves are second nature. Not so long ago, I used to be a secret agent. Did most of my work in Siberia and the Western Pacific. So this is all Claremont like feeding the reader little nuggets, little tidbits of information regarding Wolverine's mysterious past, which in this year, like early 1987, prior to the likes of Barry Windsor Smith's Weapon X, was mysterious. But great storytelling in the art by John Bolton. Really have a sense of Logan pushing through the crowd there, racing across the street, jumping up on the back of the taxi and swinging onto the fire escape. Haven't lost my touch. I'm not trying to lose any pursuit. I want him after me, but on my terms. The idea is to take this scrap somewhere we can finish it in private, but my trail stays clear. Nobody follows. Love the upshot there of Logan climbing the fire escape stairs, and mostly in silhouette. It's really, really well done. Interesting work. Very fluent by Bolton there. Great storytelling. And then Logan makes his way to Chelsea, part of Manhattan. Old, rough-edged neighborhood, turning young and fancy as the gentry move in. So this is something that Claremont was always really good at, giving readers a sense of a location, giving them a little few notes on what the key features of a location might be, or a little bit about its history. So he walks into this West Side saloon. Buildings are being rehabbed all over. Stores that have been here generations are changing hands, selling out, turning trendy. Boozer is old and downscale and comfortably friendly, as this won't last much longer. Too bad. So Claremont, in this era, the way he wrote the characters was he treated them like real people, and his endeavor was to get inside their character, their head, so that their voices would be credible and distinctive. And so, one has to wonder whether these observations of Logan's might be in part Claremont's observations of the changing nature of the city in the 1980s. But he's deciding that they're appropriate for Logan, that Logan is turned off by anything trendy, anything too young, that he prefers, his preferences for comfortably friendly. But will this particular boozer saloon be comfortably friendly? Well, as he walks in, he makes observations. Ain't crowded, nobody's a threat. Find a corner, sit with back to the walls, facing the room, with a view of all the exits. Clear field of action, handy way out if I need it. Old habits, trust no one, take no chances. That's how you survive. So again, this goes back to his being a trained secret agent. But the bartender recognizes that this guy who's come in, this potentially trouble trailing him. You looking for trouble, fella? He asks him. Nope, replies Wolverine. Just being careful is all. And the guy says, pays to be careful, as he sets down a whiskey for Wolverine. Pays more to be considerate if you can, my friend. Take it outside. Really like this. characterization of the bartender by Claremont. You know, he's not just making this story about Wolverine, but like putting agents, like, I mean, people with agency, people who are looking at him and making decisions about him, such as a civilian bartender, and gives you a sense of maybe how Wolverine comes across to civilians, and particularly one with a kind of like a radar for any potential trouble, as might be the case with a bartender. And maybe we assume that this guy could be the owner of the bar as well. So Wolverine in his first person narration continues, I make the man nervous, I make everyone nervous, ain't like normal folks. Word for my kind is mutant. Homo sapiens superior, next step, I'm told, in humanity's evolution, big flamin' deal. And I like that too, because Wolverine is not at all interested in the big picture. He's not interested in cultural trends. Instead, his focus is on the present. He is tuned in to his present environment like an animal. But I like the way that Bolton here is establishing, you know, the character of the saloon. We've got the guy here playing pool. We've got these pair here having a chat, somebody leaving. And then, of course, the woman in the short dress, or skirt rather, at the bar. She has our attention in this panel, and she'll be a character in the story too. So Logan continues. This is information that we know about him, about his heightened senses rather, a feature of his mutation. But this is intriguing. Again, this is Claremont, you know, getting into the head and the way of life of his characters. And that's what we get subsequent to this. In my case, Wolverine continues, that means my physical senses are unimaginably keen. I live by them. Others die because of what they tell me. What I see, what I can hear, what I smell, what I touch and taste and feel, my senses and my instincts, they define my reality. So he's completely tuned in to everything that's going on in the saloon. And he continues, I never stop looking at everyone, everything. I haven't lost my challenger. He's outside waiting and watching just like me. He'll make his move in his own good time. I finish my whiskey. In a while, I'll have another. And this is a really interesting sequence of panels. Another aspect of my healing power is a healing factor. Of my power is a healing factor. My body repairs itself, counters any poison, disease, wound, makes me real hard to kill. So that's information long-time readers know, of course, very well. But as he's going through all of that, what do we see in the pane of glass? But the suggestion of a smile, and then we get a close-up on it, that toothy grin that we saw earlier, and then it's blocked by the woman at the bar smiling at Logan. And then he's shocked when she moves back, presumably. The grin is gone from the window. In the window, I saw a smile. That's a really good expression on his face of surprise, like he's rattled. It's him. Great panel as well, great upshot there as he jumps up from the table, knocks the woman off her stool nearly, as he's racing to the door of the saloon. Gone again, he thinks, but where, how, so fast? Impossible for a body to cover his scent so completely, unless he doesn't exist. My head playing games, or somebody with mental powers, or some gizmo playing games with me. Bedrock at the base of my soul turns suddenly to ice, and that begins to crack. So he really is rattled. His heightened senses never let him down in this way. And then out comes the woman. She's put her coat on, and she's irked at him. I thought you had some class, cowboy, she says to him, but you're better off home on the range romancing the buffalo. And Logan thinks to himself, she's part right. This ain't home. Probably won't ever be. Too many flaming rules, choking my soul like these buildings eat up the sky. I want to run to hell, to hunt. And the bar guy comes out again, and he tells Logan, I warned you. And Logan replies, you said take it outside, just being neighborly. Yeah, right, says the bartender. I run a clean place, no trouble, no grief. Go somewhere else. And then there's a scream. So yet another complication. Logan running. I know what we'll find. I've heard that kind of scream before. It's a death scream. And the bartender is shocked. He knows the woman, Francie, so like it's like a neighborhood saloon for her. And Logan, meanwhile, he's looking away. Laughter, whispering on the wind, telling me I'm next. So there's been a murder. And Logan walks away, even as passers-by are looking at the body of the woman on the ground. Again, the animal's urge to flee. Instinct, not thought. Make tracks, find shelter, go to ground. This time I don't resist. Beneath the gratings a ladder. Emergency exit from the subway. None of the growing crowd notices me slip away. There's a maintenance walkway running along the tunnel. I can use that to reach the next station. Easier to take the train, he says as he jumps on and loses his hat. Again, a great sequence here. 7 panels. Great choices by Bolton in terms of the top-down angle here as he walks away. Then we're under the grating looking up at him, and then he's climbing down the emergency exit ladder, and then kind of standing back from the train in the maintenance walkway, and then jumping onto the train. Really good stuff, excellent stuff here. And the sound effects from Tom Orzechowski as well. And so we have a shot of of the city, a top-down shot of the city. Looks like we're passing the Empire State Building there. And Logan, in his first-person narration, continues, I don't stop moving from subway to street and back again, always looking over my shoulder, always seeing nothing, gripped by feelings too strong to be denied. I'm playing this wrong, I know, letting my hunter call the shots, dancing to his tune, but I can't help myself. My combat skills, knowing how to fight, and when and where, they're all things I've learned as opposed to what I know deep in my bones. They bind me to the world that built this city and made me less than my birthright. So this is the tension in the story. This is what Claremont is exploring in respect of Logan's character. And remember, this is Logan circa Uncanny X-Men 102. So he's more bestial at that time, more of from the perspective of certain of the other X-Men, like a psycho killer, certainly from the perspective of someone like Angel whenever he's involved. But we're seeing here this what would I call it, like this wedge between, on the one hand, civilized, trained, skilled Logan, and then on the other, that kind of animal core of him. And then he's moved all the way down to the southern tip of Manhattan, and in his first-person narration, he's continuing that laugh, the way the woman was killed. This whole game of tag strikes a chord in my memory, one I wish I could forget, and sends a thrill of pure terror through my heart. At Battery Park with my back to the sea, I don my colours, my Wolverine costume to make my stand. I show my claws, adamantium, the strongest metal known, bionically implanted into my forearms. My skeleton's laced with the same stuff, making it virtually unbreakable. And me, some high-tech sci-fi piece of work. Because in this time period, prior to Barry Windsor Smith's Weapon X, Claremont had a notion that he would have Apocalypse be behind the bionic implantation of the claws and the adamantium bonded to his skeleton. But here, and I've got to point it out, we have a Glynis Oliver trope. The claws are extruded, and we have the red background here implying the prospect of violence. Let's turn the page. So he continues. Wolverine, Weapon X, X-Man, Hunter become the hunted, killer about to be killed. I was trained by the best to be the best. My knowledge and skills honed by a lifetime's experience. But I ignore all that. I cast my rationality away and let the animal loose. I trust my senses. They play me false. So here we go. This is it. Like, this is how he was for the longest time, tuned into his senses alone, casting his rationality away. Hence, someone like Angel's censure of him as a psycho killer. And it doesn't work for him here. He's grabbed from behind, grabbed by the throat from behind, pulled over the fence. Tag again, sucker, you're it. You're out, declares the voice off panel. But maybe we recognize those hands and that kind of furry fur around the wrist of those hands, those claws. So he is thrown into the water. Expected better, boy, says the voice off panel. But then you always worry disappointment, and laughs as Logan's body sinks into the water, into the sea. An hour or so later, the Staten Island ferry cruises placidly towards its berth at St. George. Too late, the pieces had fallen into place. Sabretooth. Yeah, those are his hands there. His costume. Old hates never die. Ours won't tonight, though he did his best. He tore out my throat. So that's what happened here. He ripped out Logan's throat, but we can't exactly see it 100% because it's a Comics Code approved story. But we learn it from what he's saying here. Could have suffocated, bled to death, drowned, but the body heals faster when it has to. And we got that information earlier, of course, for any new readers. I'm a mess, but I'll survive. Like always, we fought his way on his terms. I got lucky. He underestimated my healing factor. He won't make that mistake again. The Berserker, the Wolverine in me, that's no match for him. So this is the conclusion of that tension that was thematic in the story. Only the man has a prayer. That's the rational man. To survive, I have to change, to accept what I am and grow from it. I'm not sure I want to. I'm not sure I can. But he will when he goes to Japan, yes? So, very interesting Claremont, retro, like setting, kind of, what will I say, like inserting this story into Logan's past from the era of issue 102 of Uncanny X-Men, and setting things up for Logan's character journey as he develops his rational side, becoming a man and moving away from the animal that he relied on within himself up to this point. Something else, of course, that Claremont will reveal in the future is, what day is this that Sabretooth has come to kill Logan? Well, it will be revealed. It's his birthday, which makes it really interesting that on his birthday he's doing nothing special. He's just continuing his wanderings of Manhattan and the outer boroughs. No party, no drinks with Nightcrawler, nothing. He's not celebrating it at all. That's intriguing, yes? So there you go. I do hope that you enjoyed this review and commentary on Tag You're It, the backup story from Classic X-Men number 10. Let me know your thoughts on this one in the comments section. If you enjoyed my review and commentary, please like and share the video. It really does help the channel. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content like this.